from random to recognizable, mapping my patterns. So what does that mean? Well, when we often will track certain areas of our life, right? A lot of people track macros, of course, calories. You can track a budget. And when it comes to big emotions, we can track them in our day to day life. And so, again, it's just part of being aware of what is going on. And so we track what normally is happening um, without changing anything. And then we start noticing where we need to make changes in our life. And then we do that. And of course, the easiest one to think about is when we track our calories, because that seems to be one that a lot of people do. Sometimes it seems that people don't understand that we can track so much more in our life and make those changes that we need to. So, this is episode 6 of Triggers and Patterns in the area of depression, understanding my lows. When you're living with depression, lows can feel unpredictable, like they appear out of thin air. And often, when we step back, you'll notice that there are actually patterns to it. Certain times of day, certain days of the week, maybe certain events or environments, and certain seasons as well. And this episode is about mapping your patterns. So instead of being caught off guard by every low, you can start to anticipate, prepare, and meet yourself with care. So, where do we get started from here? Well, the rhythm of our lows. What is it? So, depression often follows rhythms. So, energy dips mid afternoon, heavy moods at night, Sunday evenings, triggering dread for the week ahead, anniversaries or seasonal shifts, bringing grief back to us. These patterns aren't weakness, they're information. And they can even be a certain smell that we're unaware of, or something that we see happen. Like we're driving somewhere and maybe we see color, or it triggers an event that happened to us that brings about more of a depressed episode for us. So here's an awareness step for you. Ask, when do my lows usually show up? Okay, where do we go next from here? Well, we're going to track for clarity. Again, if we don't understand what's going on, the best way to do that, to get the start of the understanding, is just to track some stuff in your everyday life. It may seem like a little bit of work, but if we put some work up in the beginning, then we can do less work towards the end, because we already know what we need to do to change, and we just get to make those changes. So keep a low log for 1 to 2 weeks. So time of day, what you were doing, emotion plus body state, possible triggers, hunger, conflict, strolling, stress, and even simple notes like evening, heavy drained, skip dinner. Build a map over time. And the goal isn't to avoid lows, it is to see them coming sooner. And of course, you can map this in a journal, you can do it on a Word doc or an Excel doc. The benefit of doing it in Excel or Word is you can always make graphs from it. And so you can maybe see a pattern a little bit easier that way. And so here's a gentle reminder. Tracking isn't judgment, it's self-understanding. So where do we go from here on mapping my patterns? Well, you want to use the map to be prepared. That's the whole reason we track things, is to understand and be aware, and then to make those changes so we can have different outcomes in our lives. So once you see your patterns, you can start preparing support in advance. So if the evenings are hard, you can plan a calming ritual or a safe distraction. If weekends feel lonely, schedule a low pressure check in with someone safe. And if certain dates bring heaviness, block time for rest or reflection, or of course, both. So this transforms your lows from ambushes into moments you've prepared for. So here's an anchor thought for you. Knowing my patterns gives me more choices. Of course, they would give you choices because then you're aware of what's going on and you can choose whether you react before you respond. So here we are at the end. So let's wrap up and recap. Awareness builds safety. Mapping your patterns doesn't make depression disappear, but it makes it less overwhelming. Instead of being blindsided, you'll begin to feel prepared. In the next episode, we'll talk about responding versus reacting, how to pause when a trigger hits so you can choose care instead of spiraling. So here's the comment section. Come on, anything in this video that you would like, anything with mapping your own patterns, if you've done it at all, or maybe if you think it might be a good idea to start, and any real heavy emotion you have, or anything else in your life you'd like to comment on. And if you're having a hard time thinking of a question, here's one for you. What is one pattern you can map right now? Remember, patterns aren't proof that you're stuck. They're clues that you're learning yourself better. So if this resonated with you today, take a breath before you go. Let what you heard settle in. You're not alone on this journey, and you don't have to do it all at once. So if you're feeling it, like this video so others, people can find it. Subscribe for new content of every day of every week. Remember, here we do tiny steps, real talk, and honest healing. And if you've made it this far, you get to hear about the journals and the children's workbooks that I've created. So the journals just go hand in hand. They're just to help increase healthy behaviors and decrease any unhealthy behaviors, maybe just to make us more aware as well what is going on. So there's an anxiety one, self-love, self-discovery, and self-discipline one, and a beach-themed one. And then there's a children's book, Luna and Brave and the Lion, where your child gets to learn about courage, bravery, and a spark within. And then they have worksheets at the end as well that can help them understand their own bravery, their own courage, and their own spark, really to help set the stage for them to understand they have what they need inside of them to push through those hard moments in life. And then there's a children's workbook, where they'll get to learn about what emotions they have, where they have them in their body, maybe a negative thought and some positive thoughts to replace it with, and many more pages for them. Once again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you have a great day.